Tito FPV asks, can an ExpressLRS transmitter set to 1,000 hertz cause interference with a flight controller? I had to set mine to 500 hertz for jittering to go away. That's interesting, Tito. I would be more likely... I mean, I see what you're getting at, but I don't think that changes the baud rate going to the flight controller. Maybe it does. So I don't think
1,000 hertz would be a problem, right? Because that's why we set the presets for like 500 and 250 so we can get the correct smoothing, right? So especially if he hasn't set a preset already and he's all the way to 1,000, he's going to have huge issues.
No,
with jitter,
no,
right?
I'm going to get there. What I mean is isn't there an issue where the GPS? Well, that's 1,000. That's megahertz. Never mind. I don't think the signal itself is interfering with the flight controller. I guess because I don't think that the baud rate of the signal changes when you change the packet hertz. I think it's whatever 420 kilobaud, whatever Crossfire is. But as Blunty was getting at, like if you didn't load the correct RC Link preset, that 100% could cause issues because Betaflight's feed forward and filtering won't be set correctly. So if you're going to run at 1,000 hertz, you definitely need to load that RC Link preset from the presets tab.
There's not 1,000 hertz preset, as my understanding. The last I saw, there was only 500, and I think it's because Betaflight devs don't want to support it or something. I'm not exactly sure why, but
really, I mean, if there's anything needs a preset, RC Link.
I'm sure Bri can tell us.
Captain Bri, save us. No, you're right. It's only 500. But if you had that set to 500, I bet 1,000 would work. Like, it's not that different. It's a little bit different. I'll bet he's on defaults, though. I'll bet he's on defaults. He didn't load any RC Link preset. And so what I would tell him to do is to load the 500 hertz RC Link preset and see if that fixed it. Because like a lot of people fly the defaults and they're on 250 and it works. It's not ideal, but they're not getting crazy jitters. So it can work when you're not filtering exactly correctly.
Oh, one I showed there is a 1,000 hertz generic preset. I wonder if that would be better than a 500 hertz preset for ELRS specifically.
Huh. Why is there? What else does 1,000 hertz? Diatone. Oh, that's not it. Generic 1,000 hertz race by Sugar K. All right, well, you could try that one. Nothing else uses 1,000 hertz. Obviously, this is for Express. Yeah, see here, ExpressLRS. Yeah, so load that one. Great. See if that fixes it. I didn't know that. Thank you, Plenty. I have a 5-inch build and a TX16S, both on ExpressLRS 331. If I buy a Mob 6 with SPI-based ExpressLRS 2.0, what's the best thing to do to fly them both with the same transmitter? The reason for that question is that the Mob 6 is going to come with ExpressLRS version 2 v2 on it and not be able to bind to the 3.3 module in the radio. The two choices that you have are, number one, update the Mob 6 to ExpressLRS 3.x. Either update it to Betaflight 4.4 and you'll have to redo the configuration, or check to see if Happy Model has released a firmware, a Betaflight 4.3 firmware with ELRS 3.x in it. Some manufacturers did that. I think that Happy Model did it. The other thing you could do is get an external module, but it has to be a module for which there's a 2.x target, and there are fewer and fewer of those. But like, get the Happy Model, go in ExpressLRS configurator. I'm pretty sure like the Happy Model Pro module will have a V2 target, and you can flash it with ExpressLRS 2 and bind it. Now we got this question. This was actually the first question tagged, and it has been accidentally hidden, and I just saw it. How do you work out what amperage ESC to get? For example, a racing drone that uses 2506 1800 kV motors. Well, the long answer is that you look at the thrust test, the bench tests of the motor, and you see how many amps it pulls, and then you add a little bit of margin to that. You buy an ESC that's bigger than that. The reality is that even most ESCs like that you're going to buy for like a 5-inch or a 7-inch drone, they're going to be rated between like 50 and 65 amps, maybe 45 amps. And that amp rating is sufficient for basically any 5-inch or 6-inch or 7-inch. You just basically don't even think about the amp rating, because the amp ratings are so high anyway, they're more than you need. So what's the difference then, like with a 45 or a 65 amp ESC? Well, like the 65 amp ESC, presumably it's a little more rugged and durable and able to take that heat. But even a 45 amp ESC, that's a continuous rating. And the thing to keep in mind is that your motors, unless you're doing full throttle drag race runs, you're not pulling 45 or 60 amps continuously. You're doing a throttle punch. And during that throttle punch, maybe you're pulling 50 amps a motor. Think about it. 50 amps a motor is 200 amps. Can your battery deliver 200 amps on a 5-inch quad? No way. No way. It can't do it. So even if on the bench the motor pulls 50 amps, when you put your actual battery on that actual quad, it's not going to pull 50 amps. And if it does pull 50 amps, it's not going to pull it for very long. So if you have a 45 amp rated ESC, that's fine. You're not going to pull more than that, probably. And if you do, it won't be continuous. It'll be burst and it'll go back down. So just pick an ESC that has a good reputation for reliability. If it's higher amp rated, that probably means it's a little more durable, but that's not guaranteed. And then anything in the 45 to 65 amps is fine, unless you're building something truly unusual. Yep. OG Master Chief wants to know, between the Jumper T20 or the Radiomaster Boxer, which should I get as my first radio? Like the T20 has a lot going for it. Like if I did buy the T20, I would modify it and put the AG01 gimbals in it, because I think the gimbals that it comes with are not like the best. I've seen other people do that. There's some question about the build quality on the T20 not being really quite as good as the Boxer. Radiomaster has pretty high standards for build quality, although probably not like the highest standards, but they're pretty solid, especially in the FPV world. I would take the Boxer, but the T20 does have a lot of interesting things it brings to the table in terms of the switches and controls and form factor, and there's people out there who really like it. I would take the Boxer. I think it's better built, has better gimbals, and so on.